Hello everyone, Simcraft here, and welcome to the first episode of Let's Play Prison Architect. So we're going to start a new prison. So I've gone over the choices of wardens, and I'm going to pick Safara Aknova, who has a spotless reputation and a squeaky clean record, but behind the scenes, shady deals and under-the-table offerings are nothing uncommon for her. We get a small cut of the resale value of each piece of contraband found, and prisoners found with contraband will be fined directly from their savings. So we'll have a large prison with fog of war. We'll generate forests, lakes, buildings. There will be failure conditions, gangs, and events. Let's get started. Okay, so let's pause real quick. Let's figure out what we want to do. So we have these buildings down here available to us. That ought to be good. Now, one interesting thing about this land is realistically we just have this one narrow path here to get from the road to where we'll probably have the actual prison. So that's something to take into consideration. But first things first, we need to get our grants. We'll get the Basic Detention Center grant and the Administration Center grant. I think that ought to cover what we want to cover. So yeah. So we have $55,000 to set up this prison. Now then, let's think about this. What are we going to need as far as rooms go immediately? And we're going to want to be thinking about the future too. When you want to think, like, what other types of rooms are we going to want to fit in around here later? We'll want to be thinking about, hey, we need to have room to expand the canteen or the kitchen. So let's get some planning out. So we're going to need a yard, a shower, a holding cell canteen, and a kitchen right off the bat for our grant. We'll also need offices, so we'll probably have the offices like up front here. That ought to be simple. Now then, for planning. So let's say we can have prisoners. We can have... So we want a big, long pathway up front here, because I don't really think having the prison proper right in this area is the best of ideas. We need a path to get over to here. Especially with these buildings here, they can be very useful. So, yeah. We'll have the, So we'll obviously have gates along. We'll want many layers of gates to get to the outside of the prison, I think. So about where would be it? What prisoner facilities do we want at the very end of the prison? Things like parole and visitation, I'd say. Yes. So I'd say we'll have reception. That should be one of the first things along here. So go into planning. We'll build a nice little reception room. Doesn't need to be huge. Just needs to get the job done. That ought to be a decent sized reception. So we'll put well, we'll have to wait for the building to be built. We'll want reception fairly early on right over here. That actually may be a little close, because we may want to expand our deliveries at garbage. But maybe not, maybe not. We may just move those somewhere else, period. And we can make them longer as well. So, yeah, we'll have our reception here, just off to the side, I guess. That ought to work. And then we'll want, now visitation, actually. We may want that... We also want storage. I like the idea of having storage somewhere around here. So let's get into planning again. we could separate this, have them go into a building with one of these, with maybe this being reception, right? And then this room is storage. Yes? Yeah, that makes sense. And then we can have deliveries and garbage out front here. And then exports once we have those. Yeah, so we'll walk around here. So we can actually just put storage right here. So, parole and visitation we'll probably have at the far corners of the prison. We'll make like a little line here. We'll say like, this line marks the divide between like the prison proper and the non-prisoner accessible areas. And I actually like the idea. I don't think prisoners can like escape by swimming over the water or anything. I'm not sure about that. Because it would be really cool if we could have the yard be like right like this. Well, we'll play with that. That may be what we do. I'm not actually sure if lakes count as like boundaries or what. So we'll consider doing that potentially. Okay, so back to planning. So we'll want to have parole and visitation like right here. We'll have like a building for that. Right about like this or something. It doesn't need to be huge. Then we'll have like a little pathway thing off to the side here. We'll want a kitchen as well. A kitchen and canteen. So to start off with, we can just make this all one building, really. So to start off with, we only need a kitchen probably about that size, and a canteen probably only about this size, I'd say. Sounds reasonable enough. Of course, yeah. We'll branch out a little more, because we need room for hallways to parole and visitation. So we'll start them off like here, you know. This will be our kitchen and canteen. But we also want to reserve areas so we can have a very large kitchen and a very large canteen eventually once we need it. So this is what we'll start off with, and then this is what we'll reserve to expand to. Another important prison function is the shower. Now we'll probably have the shower like fairly early in the morning, and then they'll go to the canteen right afterwards. So it would make sense actually to say put showering close to the canteen, maybe like across the street or something. So we could say we could reserve this as shower, but but only build like this much to begin with. So let's actually start getting some of this in foundations. What type of foundations do we want to use? We could do brick or concrete. Let's do concrete. So we need this as a foundation. We need this as a foundation. Although we won't set in stone the parole foundation quite yet. Also, one thing to keep in mind with the plans is actually the kitchen can probably only stretch out that far at max, because we want the prisoners to have a door to get into the canteen. So, yeah. Then we have our shower room here, which we will build a building for. And we can unpause now, let the workers arrive and start building stuff slowly while we keep planning stuff out. So that's those. We still need, for our basic detention center, so we've got the kitchen, canteen, shower. This is reception and storage. We need a yard and a holding cell. Now then, where are we going to put our cell blocks? I kind of like the idea of putting our cell blocks here, since we already have a pretty big building area to do that with. Like, we already have a fairly big foundation here. So it will be fairly cheap to build a giant cell block area right over here. I like that idea. So yeah, we'll start off. We'll just pretty much like fill in this foundation, I guess. That's expensive. That is very expensive. So, a holding cell. So let's get into planning. We'll plan out pathways. So this will be a pathway. This will be a pathway, you know. So we could have a pathway going like down, like this. Fairly major pathway actually. And this could go to like cell blocks. And then from there we'll have the cells branching off in like those directions with like 2 block things. So how big do I need a cell? I need like 5 tiles of space. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. And just kind of branch out pathways like so. As for the yard, we may just actually, instead of having cells here, maybe like put a little yard area right out in front here by the canteen and shower and whatnot. That doesn't seem like a bad idea. Now then, holding cell itself. The holding cell, we'll put that like across the streets, like this or something. We hopefully shouldn't need a huge holding cell. 9x9. The minimum size is 5x5, so yeah, that'll be our holding cell there. Except, let's move it up slightly. There we go, just so that the pathways line up. Now then, we'll need more walls, just kind of for security purposes that we'll need to have built up. Yeah. And then, let me test something. Workman. No, workman. There you go. Can you, go out into the lake? I don't think you can. So the lake is actually probably going to be a good, natural barrier for us. So we hopefully should actually be able to use the lake as a wall. Well, we'll put in a fence here since we'll likely be expanding out in this direction in the future and don't really want that to be a like a real wall. So we'll speed this up a bit. We certainly have room for parole and visitation in the budget. Room in the budget. So yeah, we'll speed this up considerably. We'll want to put in some doors, some entrances. So we'll have some nice jail doors here and here. Well, let's see, we'll tear down this wall here. And we'll have a couple entrances here. We'll have a staff door for the kitchen. And then we'll have a jail door, large jail door for the prisoners. Over here, this, what was this going to be? The shower room. We'll have a large jail door over here. Holding so, we'll have a small jail door right here. Then this will be a cell block. This may actually just be a dormitory room. So we'll put a jail door there for now. So let's majorly speed things up here. We have prisoners arriving in 20 or so hours. Okay, we have a building finished. That's good. We can start laying out the rooms and their specifications. Canteen, and the kitchen and the canteen. There we go. Okay, I'll keep playing. We'll get some concrete walls right here with a staff door. Is this building done? You okay, building? What's wrong with you? Do you need an entrance or something? I thought I said I wanted an entrance. Okay, I guess I just haven't installed the entrance yet. Maybe I shouldn't have made you a storage room before it was actually... before you were actually finished. So, we'll build our office complex as well. So, we will want some... There we go. And a nice concrete wall done. No, can't do that yet. Okay. This door here requires an entrance. Let's see. We'll just put a jail door, like, here. Maybe a large one. Okay, so we're starting to get to the point where we're going to actually be putting in, like, furnishings and stuff for the rooms. One thing that we need to be cautious about